Alrighty. Ooh, my camera is not straight. Let me fix that. Okay. Excellent. Hope everyone had a wonderful week. Welcome again to another live stream. I hope everyone who is here has had a successful week printing. Um, I had an issue yesterday that I will share with you guys once we get done here saying hello to everyone. Uh, you will die laughing when you hear what happened to me, but I, it was just me not really realizing what was going on at the time. Um, I have multiple things plugged into my PS USB. I mean, not UPS USB. I have like a what do you call those units that have multiple plugs in, and then I plug that into my computer. Well, there's still only a maximum your computer can handle. And so sometimes I have to turn off one of the printers to allow another one to be recognized. And I didn't know that's what was going on. But anyway, enough. We'll get to that in a minute. So uh, At this point, we have 19 on board, and I got my hearing aids on. I've been wearing them religiously every day for at least 8 to 9 hours and getting used to these. I usually have an issue with the material that the little plugs, this little thing is right here, are made out of. My ears don't like them. My skin just doesn't like it. So I have to, wear them and just put up with the feeling. I take them off and I scratch my ears because it makes me itchy. So, but I've been very good at maintaining them. I have already replaced the circle wax guards. You have a little tool that you plug in, pull it out, and then flip it over and insert a new one. So this weekend, uh, I'm going to exchange them again. I have enough to last me for a whole year. So hopefully, this will help me get along better during a group conversation where I'm always going, huh? What did you say? And they mock me all the time, not realizing that someday that's going to be their problem when they get older. My dad was almost completely deaf when he became around late 70s, 80s. Um, so was his father, by the way. So it's hereditary. And I'm being warning Jeremy, stop, be careful what you say because it's going to hit you as well. And this is just something we'll all have to live with. Maybe by the time he is that age, things will be amazing. We'll have completely wireless. These are wireless. They connect to my little controller upstairs. I don't even need it right now. I decided to wear them just to see what it would be like to hear myself loud again. But anyway, that way my wife won't criticize me of me talking too loud. I said that's because I was an army sergeant and I speak loud and clear. That's the way we were back then. All right, so let's say howdy to everyone here. I looked this morning and noticed Nigel Waters was already on 8:45. Not too super early this time. 8:45 my time. From the UK, Wales, Canon Pro 300 with all the trimmings. Fast Slope is here. Fred Elias, Warren, Michigan, Ecotech 8550, Nikon D300, which is my camera. I gave Nathan my D90. I still have a D70. They're very clunky and heavy, and he's using it for shooting behind the scenes pictures of his school's drama club, and they've been rehearsing twice a week, and he's been shooting just pictures of them. That well, it'll be nice, and he wants to be a photographer, so it'll be good training for him. We'll see what he gets. I gave him memory card reader, and we'll see. The play should be coming up in the next month or so. All right, so Fred Elias, Michigan, at the 300. QMH Ultimate Red River Papers, Print Prism, and get the new one. A new one came out a couple of days ago. I'll make sure you install it. 2020, 26, 121 is the version. Will be 80 in this Friday or the 13th. Ooh, that's a scary day. Hobbyists liking the Red River Metallic Papers, all OEM. Alrighty. TDM 605. This is Ron K. Trenton, New Jersey. Epson Ecotech 8550, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, Canon RF5 Mark II, and a 7D Mark I. Captain Dauncey from Richmond, Virginia is here with us again. Pro 100 with all the trimmings, Sony A77, A65, and an A350. Alrighty. Photo Nikon 780, windy, 80 kilometers. Okay, that would be, no, 90. That would be 50 miles per hour gusts. I don't like windy weather. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Canon Pro 1000, Epson 2. He's got two of them. Is that what that means? XP 15000 and Ecotech 8550, QMH Ultimate Print Prism. Again, I hope you got the new one. We'll go over that later on today. Henry Stoffel, Medford, Massachusetts. Nice and warm there. Epson P800 OEM inks print prism update 2026 121. That is it. That is it, folks. And I'll read you what the description of it is. And there's a video that you can watch that Mike Cheney published that very same day. And he's got QMH Lifetime as well, Ultimate. Harold Davies is here from La Crosse, Wisconsin, 8550, Canon Pro 1100, PCSE, QMH with print prism, still on the hunt for a great eagle shot on our river. Yes, that would be awesome, especially a bald eagle. From Germantown is Steve, WH8C Epson EcoTank 8550. Hey, listen, now that the weather's getting better, we got to set up a date to get together. Maybe not this month, because I'm telling you, I'll explain why. We are so busy coming up, yeah, with appointments and surgeries for my wife in the next couple of weeks. NPM Photo, Marmolejo, Nick. Hello from Deer Valley, Arizona, Epson Stylus Pro 3800 Piezography Pro Inks. That is the black and white ink set. Excellent results, by the way. But you need to use a bit of a, it's like a, what do you call it? Special driver. Epson XP 15000 chipless, PCSE inks, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, ON1, Photo Raw Max, Sony Alpha 6000. So it's a RIP, what they call a RIP, raster image processor. And that allows you to print using those inks, because you no longer have yellow, magenta, cyan, and everything in between. Everything is either black or gray, levels of gray ink. The beauty of it is that they're all extremely neutral, unless you choose to buy their slightly tinted or toned ink set. But you got a dedicated printer to that. So if you're printing, everything is going to be a little bit warm. You order the warm ink set and you install that on all 9 cartridges. That way, everything you print will be a single tonality. I choose I would choose the neutral one if I was going to use that. All right, so Pete Grobel is here. Canon Pro 1100 Hansen resin coated satin touch, 720 grams per square meter. I told my wife what that meant. We were watching an art restoring video, and the guy referred to the canvas at a certain weight, certain grams, and she didn't know what that really meant. So when will we have the pleasure of Mike Lee Missum? I'm going to have to contact him. I did mention that he is wanted. We want him back here to just chit chat with us, tell us about what's happening in his new super retired life. I know we had a wonderful time here when he came to visit, but I'll give him a call, but maybe not this week. It'll be later on. So Richard Bender is here from Hagerstown, Maryland. He's got an EcoTank 8550, Nikon D300, QMH Ultimate, Print Prism, DJI drone, starting to prepare for various county photo contests. Yeah, he does really well at those, by the way, especially all of the county fairs. They have art competitions and photographic competitions as well. Kevin Bruniarski, Ellsworth, Wisconsin, Canon Pro 300, Epson EcoTank 8550, and an XP 15000 QMH Ultimate. All right, so that makes 25, I believe we have here. And nice that everybody's having a wonderful, productive week, I hope. Let me tell you what happened to me. But first, let me mention that, and I'm going to check right now. Bear with me 1 second here. So, as you guys know, my channel got hacked, completely gone. It's disappeared. It does not exist any longer. I had 79,000 plus subscribers. A lot of the ones that have come back to watch my new channel, which is a channel that I had already basically dedicated for family videos and that sort of thing. Nothing to do with this subject. But I just began using that channel and began uploading my old videos that I have backed up um, every day. So we are over 400 videos now, and I made my required 4,000 watch hours. And that is a moving calendar. So every day, the first day of that 350, 65 calendar disappears. They add the next day and so on. So it just moves along. So you have to maintain 4,000 watch hours. It used to be only 400. Now it's 4,000 watch hours. Well, I'm well beyond that. I'm at 6,000 something, but it's subscribers. So I need 1,000 subscribers for them to allow me to become a partner again. And by that it means that I can then apply for monetization. The negative side of this is that you guys will have to put up with ads, but ads are the only way the channel brings income. So it's something that at least watch it until it allows you to skip it. Okay, but that will not happen until I reach 1,000 subscribers. I am now, and I'll pop this up here. See that number? 961. So you would have thought that with so many previous followers, I could immediately reach 1,000 subscribers. But what's happening is that people are confused. They think just because they were a subscriber before this tragic event happened, that they don't have to resubscribe. They think they are subscribed. And please, anyone watching today, check to see if you are subscribed. Okay. You may not be. You may be still subscribed to a channel that does not exist any longer. Or you think you're subscribed. Well, you're not. You're no longer subscribed to my channel. So please check the actual channel where you are watching this from to see if you are subscribed. Okay. If you are subscribed like me to many other channels, I sometimes have to watch to see, wait a minute, what happened? I thought I was subscribed. I'm no longer subscribed. Something happened. And often that happens. You get removed for whatever the reason. So please check to make sure you're actually subscribed. If you think you're subscribed because you were subscribed to the previous one, you're not subscribed. So please check and then subscribe if you notice that you are not subscribed and you wish to be surprised. I beg you that you subscribe to the channel because we're only, let's see, 61. We need 39 more subscribers. And by then, I think it'll be April the 6th is when they will consider to automatically bring me up to the highest level of the category, in other words, that they will then basically automatically bring me to that level and I'll be able to apply for monetization because I will have reached all the requirements that they demand of a channel. Okay. Whew. Yeah. So I realized the other day I posted on my Facebook group and all of a sudden I gained 50 subscribers. People thought they were subscribed, they were not. Okay. And my Facebook group has over 9,000 members. You would think I would reach immediately several thousand subscribers, but no. It's really a strange situation where someone with, say, 1 million subscribers, a big YouTuber, will get 1,000 views in one night, not 1 million views. It's like people, I always watch, my wife and I religiously watch every video that all our subscribers put out. Okay. There's a category on my TV, YouTube, that you can choose only the subscribers and go through all their videos that they have put up and we watch them. We're old, we're retired, we have time to use up for that type of activity. But anyway, so yeah, I would appreciate if you check that. Make sure that you subscribe if you have not, if you notice that you are all of a sudden not subscribed. Okay. Well, you do that on the channel. You are watching this. You have a YouTube. Do you have a YouTube account? Most people, you would need. I don't know whether you can subscribe to someone unless you yourself have an account. Or it doesn't have to be a commercial account, just an account. Just check the channel and it will show you if you are subscribed or not. And if you are not, then go ahead and subscribe. You can do that now or afterwards. Don't do it now if you don't have to. Do it afterwards. Just don't forget to do that. Okay. It would be greatly appreciated. Trust me. And the day that this happens, we'll have a big celebration here. Okie doke. So, because of the busy situation, let me just explain. So, my wife's vision started to sort of go down the tubes with really bad cataracts. And if you know what that is, you know what I'm talking about. It's that coating over your cornea um, or in your, I don't even know. But anyway, so she had one eye done, and that one is not 100% still. They're going to have to do a very quick, as the doctor said, a cleanup. I can do that in the office with the laser. Okay. The other one, however, the astigmatism is so bad that it cannot be corrected by lenses. So new glasses would not really solve that issue. So they're going to install, get this, a new lens. Okay. Okay. 3 grand. That's what it's going to cost. And that happens in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, something like that. Next month, sometime. So we've been busy with the pre-op and everything. Tomorrow we got to go for the cardiac checkup. They demand that you do that. She's doing well. She had bypass surgery years ago, but she's fine in that regard. So get all that done, and then by the end of the month, it'll be taken care of. And then at that point, once total recovery, eye exams, new prescription, I'll get her some new glasses, and we'll be good to go. I don't think she wants to ever drive again. So she's upstairs right now in the kitchen. So, what was that? Ah, hang on. Okay, all righty. I leaned against something and knocked it over. So anyway, that's where we are at, and once that happens, I'll be able to proceed with some more projects that I have in mind. But what happened was because of all of this busyness, I've been ignoring the living daylights out of my Pro One, the Pro 200, excellent printer, the Pro 1000, Pro 200, because I have some of these printers and other things plugged into my USB hub. I had to connect some of them, disconnect some of them to allow others to be recognized, and did that. Played around with it until my Pro 200 was connected. Ran an also check, perfect, and then I did this. I printed. Where I put it? Here. Printed this beauty right here on Canon Platinum Gloss, and we're going to do that today. We're going to make that profile. I think I used a different paper last time on the Pro 200. I have now, I do this. Back here. Oh, piece of paper out. Pro 100 right here, sitting right here. It's not set up yet, but that's next. That'll happen after all of this. After all of this stuff is taken care of, all the medical things are taken care of, I will set it up. I have everything but a OEM yellow. So I had all the other ones. Apparently, I must have used an OEM yellow way back when I discovered the yellow jello situation years and years ago. over like 14 years ago, at least. That's when I discovered that, when I began to refill with Precision Colors inks. And so I had to pull another yellow out of that box. So no problem, because I'll be using Precision Colors inks anyway. And I already have the pre-filled cartridges sitting right there. So everything is on top. I will have that done probably next week, not this week. It's just too busy. Next week will be the time. I will set it up. I will do the refilling. I already did the refilling of the empty Pro 200 converted cartridges, and then I will install them. I'll cover that with video, and we'll go through the different levels that the chips are set at this point, and proceed day by day as we continue printing to disable those chips so that they are like the set that is installed in the printer at this time, fully disabled. Again, what a printer. The Pro 200, really, if you consider the fact that the inks themselves were elevated, basically they became, it's funny because they became as good as Pro 100 PCSE inks. Okay. The inks from Precision Colors that he developed were actually better. And I think Canon had to realize that. And the Pro 200 came out. But anyway, so everything will be set. We'll be doing all of these little competitions between the two printers. That should be a lot of fun. Okay. But the Pro 1 and the Pro 1000. So I started up the Pro 1000. I went to the screen and I asked it to do a nozzle check. It began to do the agitation. It's been about 2 weeks since I used it. And then cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. Oh, and more cleaning. I went upstairs, came back down, error. Okay. I'm going, oh my God, now what? Luckily, I have a print head for it, but I don't think I have enough ink to do the so-called initialization of that print head if I needed to change it. But it wasn't that. It's just said, shut off the printer and restart. So I did that. It began. It did a little bit of the pre startup cleaning. Then it stopped. Then I did the nozzle check again, and it printed it, and it printed it perfectly. So I don't know what caused that error, because it just would not stop. Now I got to check my cartridges and weigh them. Nothing has turned. The sensors have not declared anything requiring a refill at that point. I have a pretty much new MC20. I have to see what level that is at this point. After all that cleaning, it's got to have, gone up quite a bit. But I got to top off everything and just make sure to just get off my butt and use it more often. It's my fault, totally my fault. Pro 1 was acting up. It looked on my list of printers that it was active. It was on, in other words, visible by the computer. But I couldn't print a nozzle check. And it turned out that it really wasn't. So I looked at my USB thingy down here, the hub, and noticed that the little light was off. Turned it on. Boom. Run the nozzle check. Everything was good. So you need to do this, folks. At least run a nozzle check. Don't be like me. Okay. Get tied up, get too tired, don't feel good, don't want to come downstairs, don't want to do anything, and then you neglect it one more day and one more day and one more day and so on. So here's a Pro 1000 and everything is good. Pro 1000 still uses the band type method. This is the Pro 200. And again, it's perfect. And the Pro 1000. After all of that, I was scared to death that something bad was going to happen. But it turned out okay. So the moral of the story here is print. Please, folks, print. Um, especially if you're an active photographer, you're actually out there shooting, unlike me, who just prints what he generates or other people's images. Print. Don't let it sit there. Print something daily if you can. If you can pull off a daily little print once in a while, do it. Okay, and that will keep everything happy. Believe me. Also, like I said before, and people found this a little bit difficult to believe, something like the Pro 100, something like the Pro 10. I wish I had one. I have cartridges filled with ink ready to go. I don't have a Pro 10 anymore. It's gone. It's gone to the recycling center, the county. Um, I'll give them away to anyone who wants to come and get them. I don't want to ship them. Cartridges full of ink like that, I don't want to ship. Uh, Come and get them, and I'll give them to you. Many other things that I have that I just don't need anymore, don't have a need for. Um, Steve, the guy, no, was it Steve? Yeah, Steve from Germantown. I told you I had some R2000 cartridges, OEM full ones, new ones that I have not used. I found another batch, and they're yours for the taking. Just come and get them. Let me know. But anyway, so the Pro, what was I talking about before I ran off into another tangent? We're talking about hmm, whatever. Anyway, so ignore them. Yeah, and you'll go through what I went through. Um, Pro 1000 seems to throw that sort of error. It's done it one time before, and I was afraid to just stop the eternal cleaning cycle. Basically, what I was hearing is that purge pump moving. That noise. That's not the cleaning. That is sucking ink from the purge pad. So yeah, just take care of it. Do something every day on it, and you'll be very grateful. The Pro 200, thank God, very forgiving printer. Um, I should not have ignored it for that long, and it was perfect. And we're going to be doing that later on. We're going to be creating the profile using the new version of Print Prism. And I'm going to pull up, let's see. Yeah, I showed you the Pro 100 already behind me. And I got the print head that I utilized initially trying to revive my old one. That did not work because the chip reader pins are malfunctioning on the original printer that I got rid of. Basically, it's sitting back here on the floor. The new printhead right here unopened. And then I have the one that I was able to purchase right here. And even though I did install all the cartridges, you notice the ports, they have zero ink. So ink never got through the printhead because it never was able to begin to initiate itself. So this printhead is pristine. This is the one that I will use to install my new Pro 100. And again, if the history repeats itself, I'll be gone before that. Maybe I hope not. But that printer, 14 years it lasted. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so people, I just got this question recently, very recently. I want to buy a printer. I've never had a printer before. I don't know how to choose a printer and this and that. So to me, it's just very simple. Analyze first what your needs are. Don't go for a printer just because you saw an ad and ooh, that looks so cool. And look what people are saying. No, um, choose a printer based on your needs. And also, and I have learned this throughout what has it been 25 years dealing with these printers, more than that actually. Um, Go a little bit beyond what you think you will need. So if a lot of us that grew up, if you're old, you grew up during the film days. And if you happen to be interested in photography back then, like I was, since I was 8 and a half, um, it was film and chemicals, stinky chemicals. You had to work in a dark room. Yeah, you had a safe life for certain types of media that you were playing around with, but it was a pain. Yeah, it's not like sitting comfy on a nice chair in front of the computer and editing and then printing. Press a button. No, you had to deal with chemicals. The first few weeks of me dealing with chemicals, all my skin fell off my hands because dummy Joe did not wear gloves. What did I know? I was like 8 and a half, 9 years old. So, yeah, it happens. But, after that, I began to explore cameras. And, in the army, I became a photographer. And so, thank goodness, out of the grace of God, I became a photographer, which was my dream in the first place when I got drafted. You don't get to choose what specialty you would like to go in. You get put wherever they want you to put you. So the fact that I was awarded the specialty of photography by just signing a an order was miraculous. So, but I did have that experience fully, many different dark rooms, many different situations. Got into color. I became very good at it. That's why the Pentagon assigned me to their color section of the Army Audiovisual Center. Okay, the big one. Um, so yeah, very grateful. But then the digital age hit, and so at first it was like going back to the 1800s, photography wise. You've seen what those photographs look like. So yeah, digital printing was, you know, I don't know how many DPI the prints were. You could see the dots, folks. It looked like a really bad, less than a newspaper, which is 85 dots per inch, um, around there. So it looked like, no, this looks nothing like a darkroom print. Forget this. I'm going back to the darkroom. So I began to accept it as things got better and so on. So I was able to go. I went through every printer evolution that Epson put out. So let's just stop right now. Let's just say I want to get into this now. So I know I shot film. I'm old enough to have shot film. But what should I buy now? What sort of printer? So I asked myself, what do you want to produce, Joe? Oh, I want to make prints. Let's see, what did I make in the dark? Oh, 8 by 10s, 11 by 14s. Sometimes if I had trays big enough, 16 by 20. So, but 8 by 10. Well, that can be handled by just about any uh, 8.5 by 11 printer. And in color photography in the darkroom, you had the material that you use had four dyes built in, um, yellow, magenta, cyan, black. That's it. So is that all I need? Well, theoretically, yes. So you can get a four color printer, something like I don't know, whatever, any printer that uses four colors. and you can print photographs. Even today you buy an all-in-one, which is CMYK. You can print photographs. They will look 1,000 times better than what we were getting in the year 2001. They will look 1,000 times better, but they will not look like what my 8500 can pull off, or my Pro 1000 can pull off, or the Pro 200 can pull off. So, it's a matter of what do you want to achieve and at what level will you be satisfied? And also size. Where can you store this printer? The Pro 200, I don't know if it's bigger than the Pro 100. Pro 100 is massive. That printer weighs a ton. And me with my bad back, I had to lift it out of the box. It was very awkward. Not like when I was younger, I could just, you know, yeah, it's heavy. My shoulders are not what they used to be. So, where are you going to put it? And don't be moving it around once you get it set up. So you want to know, okay, what's the biggest print I want to make? And you say, well, 8.5 by 11. Can I make an 8.5 by like 17? Ooh, actually, you can. Most of these printers allow you to create a custom paper size that big. And if you have a good trimmer, you can prepare and print. Yeah, but you cannot make anything larger than 8.5 wide. So if you want to make an 11 by 14, then you cannot use one of those all-in-one type printers. Say, for instance, like the XP 15,000. So that has a limitation, 8.5 by something, okay, or smaller. So if that is the maximum, for sure you will never need anything larger than that. Then yeah, something like the XP 15,000 or 8,500 is the small version, and that will get you to 8.5 width times to about 20 something inches. Okay, I think it's like 24, 25 inches long. That's a pretty good little panoramic image. So, yeah, do you want to refill? Then you're screwed basically at this point, because there's really nothing from Epson that will allow you to refill with your particular inks. EcoTank is the only way to go if you're gonna even consider refilling. And why would you, since the inks are super cheap to begin with and actually really good? Yeah, they sort of got you by what. So they know you're not going to want to refill. Already, it's very affordable and quality is great. Um, so if I was a rank beginner at photo printing at this point, and I was never ever remotely considering producing gallery level big old prints, EcoTank 8550, that is the way to go. Okay. If you want, and I was going to say the XP 15,000 also, it has a scanner, but so does this one. So there's no need to go. And that one requires you to use a chipless firmware if you want to ever refill your original cartridges. The original cartridges of the XP 15,000, you just flip them upside down and dribble ink into the exit sponge. And then you watch for that sponge to get a little bit wet. And that's it. You don't need to add any more ink, pop it back into the printer. That's, of course, after you have rendered it chipless. So, I mean, unless you're going bigger than 13-inch by, and I don't know how long I could actually send a piece of paper through this printer, but 13-inch by something. Usually it'll be by 19. Um, you don't really need anything bigger than that or better than that. Trust me. It's amazing. I don't know what Epson was thinking when they offered us this, because I don't need to get a 17-inch P900 unless I'm creating prints for sale. And I want anything that large. I don't need it, and you're not letting me refill anyway. So why should I consider buying that? Unless, again, I need to be generating money so I can afford the expensive inks that you're forcing me to use. You see? So it used to be where before we had all of these different choices, everything was pretty much refillable. So we did have a massive uh, amount of choices, but not today. Today, either you're a professional earning money, so yeah, you can afford, a P900 or larger capacity, or go with a Canon. The Canon still allows you not to reset the chips, but to disable those chips. And these cartridges, this family of cartridges, is just a container. There's nothing mechanical inside. The only mechanical thing is that little poppet valve, and it's just a little plastic plug with a spring behind it and a rubber gasket. So, and you drill a hole like I did right here and refill them. And then you wait until it throws an error, and then you reset the chip. Done. Epson does not allow you to do that. So you cannot get away with that. So if I was to need, 17-inch capacity by something, then yeah, the 1100 would be good. The 1000 would be good if you can find one. I would go for the 1100, of course, at this point. Um, and that's it. That the maximum I will ever need is 13-inch wide capacity. This will give you 13-inch capacity. So if you don't need anything larger than 13-inch wide, get this. If you don't need anything larger than 17-inch, I mean, yeah, 17-inch capacity, um, is that is the Pro 1000 17-inch? No, I don't know. I forgot now. Jeez, hold on. Yeah. So there you go. That's all you need. So get a Pro 1100 for your 17-inch by whatever. Um, and if you need only 13-inch, get an 8550. Those are the two printers that I would recommend. The P900, yes, it's excellent. Sure, it has an excellent roll adapter as well, but it's OEM only unless you live in Europe. Okay. So, two printers I would only recommend for you, that one and the bigger brother, the big brother of the 1000, the 1100. If you now want to make larger prints, 24-inch wide capacities, that's 2 feet wide, folks. Then you got to go higher. 2100, 2600 will give you the 24-inch. Uh, you can go 44-inch capacity. That's a big, you better have floor space. You better have a lot more room dedicated just for that. They are not easy to move around, that type of thing. So that's it. Two printers that I would recommend. Took me that long to get to it, but yeah, that's it. 8550 for 13-inch, no more than that. The Pro 1100 or 1000 for your 17-inch and long lengths. Again, I don't know how long you can go. I think it's 40 something inches now with the newest firmware. Pretty good though. I mean, if you can trim paper that's, your front edge is perfectly perpendicular to the lateral edges, you could feed it very carefully and it will print. It will print on the Pro 1100. The Pro 1100, really, if it had a roll adapter, I would do whatever I need to do to buy one because that would be perfect. That would be the perfect thing, the perfect printer. One that allows you to refill by simply resetting the chips and a roll adapter compared to the 900 from Epson. Sure, it has a great roll adapter, but it doesn't let you refill. Okay. The P800, like I have, yeah, that's pretty good choice as well, if you can find one. Again, chipless solution, uh, firmware, and you're all set. Refillable cartridges from China, and you can use whatever inkset you would like to use, including piezography inks as well. Judy Ann is here from warm and windy eastern Washington state. Good morning. Over there is morning time. Good morning. Canon Pro 200, great printer. Did not print for 6 months, but gave me a very good first print. Yeah, print first time I finally put it up again. If it's been turned off, um, I don't think it really matters anymore. Even if you leave it on, the print head seals itself perfectly on the nozzle plate, the nozzle unit. The you know what I mean. Um, it's not like before where the print head would not park itself down on the purge pad. Sorry. Um, so that nozzle plate would not remain sealed. In other words, air could get underneath and dry it a little bit. So that was an issue. But later on, they realized that people were not leaving their turning off their printers. So let's go ahead and let it park, regardless of whether you leave your printer on or not. And that really has helped a lot. Yeah, it's lighter. I noticed that. The 100 was ridiculous. It built like a tank, though. You have to admit. Harold Davies says, I printed that photo of the young flower girls I sent you on Red River Metallic Luster, Richard Bender's idea on the 8550, and it turned out great. My first time printing youthful skin tones on metal paper. How does that look? How does that look? I usually don't think of using a metallic paper with faces. Uh, Maybe with old cars or jet planes or fighter jets, that type of thing. That sounds interesting. Steve Excel from London, UK. Epson P800 refillable cartridges, see, and OEM inks. A Studio spectrophotometer, I1 Studio, Spectral, QMH, Photoshop, Nikon Z72, and Epson V500. Welcome again, Steve. HC, oh, wow, I'm late. We positively do have spring, but aren't on DST yet. Yeah. Hello from the Netherlands. Right. I know that some areas in Europe are a little bit different. Same here with some. I was listening this morning on the news, and yeah, the same thing here. I totally forgot last night to set my clocks back. We have over 30 clocks in this house. It's the German side of the family. They love clocks. But my wife apparently did it this morning. So it's just a few of them that I had to set back myself. I totally forgot about that, by the way. I went to bed without even thinking. All right. So let me pull up the email from Mike Cheney about QImage 2026 and version 121. Okay, so I am going to read it here because Mike told me that I accidentally was showing one of the passwords, and he was a little worried about that. So thank you for supporting Print Prism. A new update is available, 2026 121, March 6th, 2026. More modern, user interface, and improved workflow. Scanner selection verification guides users to eliminate wrong driver mistakes. So I think that means simply that the settings, in other words, no color adjustment, 300 DPI, that sort of thing, has been automated basically. Improved spectral mapping for wider color range when using wide gamut inks. So that would be, I would assume, you're using a printer such as the Pro 1000, the 1100, P900, anything that's above what the 8550 supposedly can handle, although it's not that bad, okay? I, have to say, would be improved upon, okay? Better results when using the Epson V39.2 scanner. So I assume that is that the standalone scanner that he has added? I think so. Epson V39.2 scanner users, please rescan your targets with this version. So if you've been using that particular scanner, we would like you to rescan it. Now, here is a video. Now, I don't know whether you'll be able to hear. I hope so. Last time I tried to do this, you guys told me that you could not hear the audio. So I am just simply going to play a little bit of it. Okay, you guys tell me if you're able to hear it. Hang on one sec. Let me turn this off. Let me get this ready here. Oh, I think I closed the page. Hang on one second. Let me go back to my Gmail. We'll get that video ready. And you guys tell me whether you can hear it or not. I'm going to go ahead and just play the audio for now. I'll put it a little bit louder than normal. And you tell me if you can hear it. Okay, did you hear Mike Cheney saying he's Mike Cheney? Let me know. I'll wait for you guys and we'll go ahead and play the whole video once you tell me that you can hear that. It should have been picked up through my speakers. So let me know. That's the video right there. No, it did not. Okay, so apparently for some reason it will not. That's odd because that is just ambient sound. And somehow it's blocked. Let me verify that one last time here. Okay. I don't understand how you cannot hear that because if I can hear it, it's like me playing one of my intro videos, slideshows. It's just using ambient sound. So maybe, nah, I don't want to mess with the audio input here. Um, but anyway, just make sure you watch that. Um, it will probably, well, not probably, but definitely explain it is better than I can what he has incorporated. But we'll go ahead and just simply use it. We're going to proceed to scan that platinum gloss profile chart that I printed on the Pro 200. Let me get everything ready here. This paper is just so awesome, so wonderful. This is the one that I did on the Pro or the P800 with the Red River paper. So let me write it down, otherwise I'll forget. RR Polar Luster Print Prism. We're going to be printing later on a 17-inch by about 13. So it'll be basically using the whole width of the paper, but only like 13 inches. That will be good. That will be good. So all right, so let me finish up here with two more posts that were added here, and then we'll begin. We'll go ahead and begin to scan that baby. Okay, Henry Stoffel says with the recommendation Epson V392Y WIA driver, there is a bug in the 121. Please release regarding 3 scans. Mike is going to correct the bug in the next release, and for now says to limit it to a single scan. Really? Oh man. Okay, so you must have been right on it. I haven't even used it yet. So should I even bother then? I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a single scan and see how that works. It should be fine. Steve Excel says, any update if Print Prism will ever be able to run on my Epson? No, I don't think so. I think he's given up on that. Unfortunately, all the new scanners that are being supported, I think it has something. I'm not sure. I'm just going to spout my opinion. I think it has something to do with the illumination of the scanner source, whether it's LED or incandescent. These older V printers are no longer available. I mean, scanners are no longer available. So those of us who are lucky to have one, we're the only ones that have one. They are no longer sold. So he's gonna not even consider those. I hope that's not true, but we'll see. Yeah, so no. Oh, okay, great. So it doesn't matter with me. I'm using the EcoTank 8550. Awesome. Okay. All right, let's crank this baby up and have a look at it. I should have watched the video. I'm going to jump into this totally blind here. I always get criticized for doing that. Basically, I don't even read the instructions on anything. That's just the way I am. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and have a look. Step number 1, select your scanner. Yep, 8550 right there. And by the way, someone suggested that, oh, you can do the scan on a Wi-Fi connected 8550. No, you cannot. You can print your chart to a Wi-Fi connected printer, but you have to be USB connected to do the scanning. Okay. So, and let's see what's the next one. So it says scanner, spectral profile, Epson EcoTank 8550. And then remember, before the EcoTank printers came out, remember the L series? Basically, there was the same style printer, tank type printers. They were sort of being sold outside the United States in mostly the East before they made it, they became very popular and then eventually made it here to the US. Back then, you needed a bottle that had a serial number on it or a barcode or some sort of identification system. You couldn't just use any old ink. Well, the EcoTank does not require that any longer. So, but anyway, those are supported as well. Step two, import a scanned target. Okay, so we're going to go here and you would import some of these here if you already scanned it, but we haven't yet. And then from the scanner, so if you've already scanned it and saved it, you can just import it from here directly. So anyway, as you saw, these are all the scans that I have done. So I can just bring one of those in and rescan it if I wanted to, or scan the one I just loaded, the chart that I just loaded. So let's see, do I want to do a preview? Sure, why not? Okay, check the preview button before scanning to confirm. Target is placed in the center, blah, 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 and straight. Yeah, I like to be reminded of that. And we'll see. Do I have this plugged in via USB? No, I do not. Let's see. I unplugged it so that I could have the 4200. That is what I mean. I don't have enough ports. That's unplugged. Actually, no, this is the power is completely off. Oh, come on. No, forget it. I'll do that later. I just want to know why it didn't go through. I unplugged my 4200 because I don't need it on today. I already pre-printed what I needed. Here we go. You're scanning. This is what was happening the other night. Jeez. Let me make sure that I am being recognized here. This is exactly what was happening the other night. So 8550. Yeah. That's what it is overnight. That USB is plugged in. If I undo, no, I have to have it recognized by USB, otherwise it's not going to work. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to plug it into directly to the computer. Okay, now it's connected. And we'll see if we can get a preview. That's all I want. Here we go. I really have to spend a bit of time and decide what do I really need to have connected. So obviously I cannot be doing multiple printer demonstrations at the same time. I'll have to really choose carefully. All right, so that looks good to me. We'll scan now. Let's see. We'll close this. And we'll scan, and I got 3 faces here. So I can still choose that 1, 2, or 3. I'll leave it at 3. We'll scan now. And I like the way that it's doing that simultaneously without me having to repeat that, scan, scan, scan. Now it's doing it all at the same time. Should be the last one. Again, imagine you just have a computer and one printer. It'll be a piece of cake. You don't have to deal like I have to with multitude printers. Okay, so that's it. You have successfully stacked 3 scan passes. And we're going to save it. And let me make sure that I don't have this already saved here. No, I don't think I have. Okay, so this is going to be Pro 200, Canon, Platinum, Gloss. And I am going to designate that it is with PC. And I think it's 65 SE inks. Save it. And I'm going to add that here by clicking yes. There it is. Add it down to the bottom. It's already done automatically, actually. Let's move this over. We're going to now detect the corners. Hopefully everything will be detectable. Bingo, that's great. I'm going to look across all the way to the bottom. Everything is right, beautifully centered. Look at that. It's amazing the way that works. And then we'll go to the opposite corner. Yep. So we are good to go. Now all I have to do is make that profile. And there you go. This is beginning. Now I'm going to load, while this is being created, I'm going to load a couple of sheets to the 200. I think I already have one on there, but I may want to do a couple of prints. Alrighty. About halfway done. Piece of cardboard. And here is the second sheet. Profile creation seems to be taking a little bit longer than usual. Maybe that's good. Maybe that is good. More computations taking place behind the scenes. Remember, he's claiming better results with high gamma inks. I don't know whether the Pro 200, precision colors inks are high gamma or not, but whatever. I'm sure that the results will be good. Once this is done, I'll verify that okay, that's it. Close. Come back to me. I'm going to just take a look at my color folder. I'll show you. And right there on the top is that new profile we just created. So now it's just a matter of going to QImage and picking up any image we would like to test and print it. I should be making a standard image, but you know what? I kind of know it's going to be okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and devote that expensive paper to create an actual print of a image that maybe I made or someone else made or whatever. So we'll actually make an actual print with it. So let's see what we have here. We'll print one of these Richard Bender rendered images of inside a cavern. He loves doing that. So let's set this baby up. So we're going to go ahead and choose the Pro 200. And this is the paper that I chose to create that profile. There is no choice for platinum gloss in the Pro 200 driver, apparently. So I chose Photo Paper Pro Crystal Grade. That sort of resembles what I think the platinum gloss looks like. So I'll just go ahead and choose that because that's what I made the profile with, obviously. So we're going to put a border on it and make sure we have 8.5 by 11. We have the correct paper that I made the profile with. The only thing we have to change now is to use an actual profile. So I'm just going to suggest it's going to pick that same OEM profile for it. But now I'm going to choose the one I just made. So we'll just click on the date and boom, there it is. I could have done a search for the word platinum as well. Done. Relative colorimetric, black point compensation. And now we'll just load the image. And I want to make sure that I am not cropping it. So I am going to click on that. And there it is. So what I will do is I'm gonna add a little stroke around it. I always like to do that with my images that I print. And that's it. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to do anything to it. Well, maybe apply a little sharpening if it needs it. And it looks pretty good to me. but we'll do that anyway, just because. There you go. And that's it. That'll just give it a little bit of not changing the colors, not making them gloss, more saturated, just a little bit of a sharpness to it. And that's it. We'll print this baby. Make sure again, that's the correct paper profile we just made. The size, the paper type that I made the profile with, and of course the printer. And we'll send it off. Then maybe we'll do the same, not with one of those that are that have been signed, but one that I am able to fit to a 17 by 13 inch dimension. So once it gets done loading, I'll go ahead and change over to the P800, and we'll use the profile that I made. The printer's offline. What the heck? Oh, I know what it is. And that's what I'm talking about. My printer, computer is not allowing me to print on a multitude of different printers because of the problem with the USB. I have too many things attached to every one of these USB ports. There we go. So now it's going to print. Notice no ink shows. That's because all the chips are disabled. So we'll let that print. We'll move it over here so you don't have to stare at this. Okay, so let's go ahead. Set this up for the P800. We're going to do that weird size. So P800. And let me make sure that I can print to it. I first have to check. I'll do it over here. I need to check to make sure that it's being recognized. Yeah. P800. No, it's not. So I'll wait until that is done, and then I will go ahead and connect the P800 USB. Okay, so here what we need to do is this. I already have the correct printer, Ultra Premium Photo Paper Luster. That's what I used to create the profile with. That's the wrong profile, obviously. So let's go ahead and look. And it was a recently produced one. Here it is, 800 Red River. And now we just have to change the size. So I made that picture of the little cat for my son's friend. He was thrilled with it. So we're going to do 13 by 17 and watch what happens. Boom, immediately. So let's go ahead and choose. We'll do this one here. Give it a border. That one. So I'll wait for it to finish printing. I need to connect my P800 to it, to the USB, and we will then proceed. Again, I said, imagine how much easier this would be with just one printer. then you don't have to deal with this sort of situation. Now, this is Richard's latest. It's a little bit different, but nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and sublimate it. He created this, so it's sort of I don't know what you would call this, futuristic, whatever. We'll print it, see how it comes out. My press is nice and hot. We'll do an 8x12 print. These are part of his the series that he's been doing, where he has been signing them. Make sure that I am not going to miss any of his signature here. Then I'm going to show you a bit of how I go about producing one of those framed miniature paintings. I'll show you some of the materials that I use. And I won't be able to actually show you how it's done, but I'm going to show you what I am using. I'm going to describe what I use to then proceed to create these little mini paintings that I hope to sell a bunch of this October. Again, I do this probably 1 or 2 a day maximum. It takes about 3 hours per unit to create them, so it's nothing mass produced. In other words, let me go check the print. And it's fantastic, actually. Looks really, really good. Unbelievable. Yeah, this is amazing. So again, achieve this level of accuracy and just beauty. This is not a real image. This is AI generated. Imagine what you could do with your own photography with a $35 piece of software. It's just unbelievable. Really, really, truly unbelievable. And again, I'm using, of course, there is an ICC profile for it. Of course, you know, Mr. Lee, the former owner of Precision Colors, created a profile for his Pro 200 ink set for platinum. But I just did it in a matter of, well, it took me longer than it should have, but matter of minutes, create a profile that you can then use to be able to create something that pretty much just matches. Unbelievable. All right, so this is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and place this little sandwich down here. Center it. Okay. Now I need to remove the 200 and plug in the 800, and we'll print this hopefully without any issues. So yeah, to make sure I know which cable. White one. There we go. That's the 200. That's not the one we want. It's hard to tell. Hang on. Here we go. Bless you. My wife is sneezing. She gets these sneezing fits. Let me see if that worked. Nope. Oh well. We'll take a look at this. Bless you. Okay. I don't know why that's not connecting. Make sure I got the right. Just the dark one. Hmm. Okay, now what disconnected? Something disconnected. Why isn't this connecting? Okay. That is strange. Oh well. Maybe it's not going to happen. And of course, as soon as I get off here, I'll be able to connect it. I know that's what happens every single time. Hmm. By the way, the profile that I used to print that chart was created by Print Person, which is amazing to begin with. I don't know why I cannot get disconnected. Jeez. Maybe if I disconnect the 8550, I can use the 8550 for most everything using Wi-Fi. So I will do that. It's already disconnected. So I must be using Wi-Fi. Yeah, I should have enough. I should have enough plugs available. That's weird. Let me make sure it's even on. Yeah, I don't understand why it is not powering on. I don't trust these things. Nope. That's weird. Okay. Well, that's going to be it then because I cannot get this to connect. Yeah. Yeah, I am going to maybe have to go through Ethernet, like you suggested here, and just get a. I have to check to make sure my printer has an Ethernet plug behind it. It should. I think it does. Definitely does. I will definitely have to go that route, and that will allow me to then print without any issues, of which I am having plenty of lately, and I don't understand why. Hmm, that is weird. Nope. Oh well, I guess we're not going to be printing that. I'll go ahead and close it. That's too bad. It was working fine last night. Anyway, yeah, I'll have to look at that. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. Definitely, and I'll use my computer's Ethernet port. All right. Well, that's too bad. Is my Pro One even recognized at this point? Let me see. I was able to print and also check yesterday. So, nope, it's also off. Wow. Okay. Well, that's weird. I will look into this right after I get off here. But anyway, let's give up on this. I'm going to show you. So, I found a bunch of these. Okay. I'm going to, I bought a dozen of them. They slide open and close, but this one is gonna remain glued on the open position. This is represents a simple stretch over a frame. And you can see the simulated stretcher made out of basswood. This, of course, is not canvas, it's paper. This is that paper. Okay. It's the linen surface paper. So this type of result print um, will be sold for a much lower price. It will include the little stand as well. So I have a bunch of these already made, already packaged. That is real wood. Everything is real. Okay. So that is one version, one type of presentation that I will have. Now, I also have a very modern, this is cooling down here, a very modern representation of what a metal print would be. It comes with an explanation of what sublimation printing is. It comes with a little hanger right here. It's actually a piece of wood shaped like this. And there's one already on the back of the print that will then be In other words, like this. I can't do that. You hang it down like that on the wall. So I brought the wrong one down. The one that I normally would offer would have the uh, little blocks right here in the corner, and the hanger and a label. So this is a painting that I made. This is the old Forest Glen Girls School from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Okay, but I will probably be concentrating on the real oil paintings. So this is how many I have made. This is canvas. There's a bunch of them here. If I was to sell just this pack that I have here, I would go home a very happy boy. Um, so we started off in this format. I already did one of this upstairs. I did one of this as well. But I just recently made, I want to get my fingers just a tiny little bit damp. These. So I'm sorry, this is upside down. Yeah, here we go. Like so. It's difficult to see with all of this shine. This is that nice canvas that comes already pre-varnished. Two of each. Very Victorian. Christmas. Musical kitty cats. Who would not want that? And a bunch of landscapes and a ton of other stuff here. So again, at a rate of one per day, I got myself about 50 days of work here to go through. Now, here is one finished one that I did probably as close as a real one would be with the actual wedges installed there. I found that to be very difficult to do. So I'm going to use a different method, one that actually also is used. But this is real canvas. You can push it. The actual canvas stretcher is lapped joint. And in real life, it would be more of a mortise and tenon and no glue. So it is actually kept stretched by the wedges. But paper edges, and the paper is 50 years old, framing the joint, covering the joint where the canvas stretcher, the stretched canvas on the stretcher sits on the frame. So we cover that up because you don't want to see that. In real life, you would do that as well. Then the front, real mahogany and gold on the edges. Because I did a groove, which I then rounded off and I apply the gold. So that would be the item being offered. And again, we'll put it on a little. Whoop, like so. So I will have like 24 of these available, and we'll just add that for a few bucks more. You can get this and a presentation stand or a easel, because in reality, you don't really want to glue this to the wall. Okay, you don't. I was thinking about installing wire so that you can then hang it on a little pin on the wall. I may end up adding that to it later, but I think I want to present them as a unit like this that you can then just keep in your room uh, for display, whatever style room you create. So this is my other style, and I just made this one the other day. This is the musical kitty cats. Then I'm going to show you the raw material that I create these frames and the stretcher from. Okay. See the real canvas right there? The little corner stretchers. These are single, instead of being two wedges, it's a right angle. And you just push it in and that stretches that corner out. And then the frame. And of course, gold. And don't forget the little brass plate in the front. So let's take a look at the other two. And of this level, real canvas, I only have like 1, 2, 3, 4 done. So here's this portrait, and then this portrait, and of course the kitty cats, and the other bunch that I showed you earlier. So let's take a look. So I begin the stretcher, and I buy my basswood in sheets. So this is 3/32 of an inch thick, and I then cut it into strips. Not with just any saw, but with a saw that's no longer even available any longer. Let me show you what that looks like. It's actually quite amazing. Let me put this away. And when I get done today, I gotta head on upstairs and do some more woodwork. So let's go ahead and type in Preac mini saw. Now there are many other types of saws out there, but there's nothing like a Preac. And let me see if I could even find a picture of one. I should have taken a picture of mine, but let's see if there's even one available. There's a bunch of them. I'll show you, what's available out there. But nothing comes close to the Preac. The Preac was handmade by a machine shop owned by a single man. You see the prices here? No, my Preac was $600. And that was back in the, oh my gosh, the 80s, the late 80s. Yeah. So you could imagine what that would be for now. Let me go back and see if I can search. See if I can even find one. There it is. But this has been altered. Yeah, this has been altered. This saw did not have this special bed. This is neat. I would consider doing that. The secret is that it uses not regular saw blades, but machining blades. And these machining blades are used for slotting metal on a milling machine. They were used for cutting the slots on screws precisely. So when you use that to mill wood, you get a surface that is so smooth you will ruin it by sanding it. This is smooth as silk. And remember, this used to be maybe an eighth of an inch thick, a board an eighth of an inch thick, long. And I would slice off these little slices and create cuts that are so perfectly smooth that you would ruin them by sanding them. So this is then I measure. So this is one that's prepared to be, let's just choose this landscape here. So I would measure exactly the length of this trimmed canvas, put it on I have a little jig, and I could then cut two of them that are exactly the same length. And then I would measure, do the same thing again, measure this width and cut it exactly to the same length, two of them. And then I would cut the lap joints. To cut a lap joint, I have a saw blade that's a little bit wider than the one that I'm using now. Is a very thin blade. But the beauty of these blades is that they don't have teeth that are alternate. They're all the same. It's just that the blade is hollow ground a little bit. So at the very tip, the very edge where the teeth are, it's a little bit wider, a little bit thicker than the rest of the blade body. So it's sort of concave, and that creates that super smooth edge where the side of the blade never is rubbing on the wood that you're cutting, only the upper edge of the teeth. And so that creates a super smooth. Now I have a thicker blade, and I use that to create my uh, dados, or anytime I want to make so like this, and I want to make that groove a 16th of an inch wide at this all at once. Then I use a thicker blade. So I use that blade to create the laps, and then that fits perfectly. 50% off, 50% off, and it laps. I make that on all four corners, and I create that frame. I put it on a square, and it's perfectly 90 degrees. Okay. And now that frame fits perfectly, perfectly flush against that uh, trimmed piece of canvas. Then I have to make the side ones, the central ones. Same thing. When I make the first two, I actually cut three, and then three of the long edge, the long side, three pieces this length, three pieces this length, and everything is lap jointed. And I make that frame first. And in this case, unlike the real ones, this one is glued. There's no way that I can make, you know, stretchable um, stretchers. Okay, I have to glue them. Then I apply this on top with glue, and it is now set. The beauty is that you can push the canvas away from the internal frame. You can see that it's canvas. Um, I made one where I actually stretched the canvas over the edge. Too much work. You will never even see that once it's finished. So it's just wasted work. But I can do it. I can actually do it. So next, once you do the frame, next comes uh, the stretcher. Next comes the frame. The frame starts off like this, just a piece of mahogany. See this edge? This is the leftover from a piece of a block that I found at a hardwood store. They have many different types of exotic woods, including mahogany, maples, just the common woods that furniture users use. And again, using that saw, I can cut off many strips like this. And look at the edge. You see that? I don't know if you can see that, but there you go. You can see that there is a groove there. So see that? That groove just fits over. And that groove is cut with that thicker blade. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure precisely the size of the frame. I have another jig to cut the angles and then glue it together using my machining square, machinist type square, and create that frame. That frame has to end up so that when I put this, now it's been glued to the stretcher on the rear of the frame, it fits all along that groove. Okay. It's like a dado and it fits perfectly in there. And that I glue in place with very liquid crazy glue. The four corners and then the centers. I'm sorry, the four corners, then each center. And then if it needs a little bit more, I add. And it just seeps right in and glues itself to that frame. You cannot see it afterwards. And then I will apply the paper to it. I don't know if you can see it around the edge. And that's what a framer would do. And then this is my label. I have yet to come up with a name for the kitty cats, so I'm going to add that later. My wife and I were thinking about what should we call this. So we'll add to that later, and then I will include one of these. When you purchase this, you will get one of these with it, the little stands. Now, the center, there's a really unique thing here. You see the center crisscross? This one here is very thin, and it just lap joints on this. So the only lap joint on this long piece here is on the opposite side, the side facing the front. So that little thin piece comes from this. Again, cut with that saw, very precise. Now, at some point, I will run out of the mahogany and I will begin to use this other type of hardwood. It's a beautiful, beautiful wood. It'll be a lighter blonde color. Maybe I can stain it a little bit darker if I don't like the way it looks. And we'll proceed to make frames with these. And I got a bunch of this. Now, this originally, yeah, it gets really crazy because I used blocks, solid blocks, 3-inch by 6 by 10. And then I use my bandsaw with a resawing blade. It's a special blade that produces a very precise cut without too much saw marks on it. And then I have a drum thickness sander. I made it myself, and it is micrometer adjustable. And I can then send this rough board through it. It sands the top surface. It uses a drum sander. And then I flip it over and I sand the opposite side. And I adjust the thickness. I use a micrometer to check the thickness until it's the correct thickness. And I end up with a smooth piece of mahogany where it used to have claw marks on it. Okay. Like so. And so the same thing with these. I made these out of a block of wood. And I could do that with any kind of aged, for example, I did it for some of my furniture with a trunk of a holly bush. Somebody gave me that, and when I saw that in half, it had beautiful white hardwood on it, and I let it sit in my shop for about a year, and then I went ahead and milled it, and that's where I made my little tiny strips for inlaying some of my furniture with holly. So darker wood with a little fine white edge on it, made out of wood, not painted, not any actual inlay of holly. And so you cannot buy this stuff. So you have to make it yourself. It takes a lot of work. People maybe don't realize that. So I have to explain. I'm going to be explaining this to anybody that comes to my table, how this is actually put together. That is not, no offense to mass produced Chinese products, but this is not mass produced. This one is. This is definitely mass produced. They knock these out like, hundreds per day. So because of that, I'll be able to buy a couple dozen of them. I already have 1 dozen, and then I'll sell it with the product so that you can then display it. I have my hands full right here. We're going to be making lots of frames. And then I have a ton of metal prints, just like the one I showed you, ready to go, ready to be displayed. I have posters. Uh, Again, just a bunch of different scenes and stuff. A lot of little small metal prints, just a ton of stuff, all little. So hopefully, I'm also going to also take. I'm also going to also. I'm also going to take some of my furniture that I have left and see if I can sell that. Oh, thank you, sir, or madam. I don't know what you are. Safe Electric. Thank you. Perhaps Micromark has a saw that. No, it does not. No. Yeah, I know Micromark. No, they do not. Nothing exists like the Preac. Okay. I'll show you guys. Maybe I'll break it down next week. I'll show you guys what that looks like. It's a masterpiece. Your woodwork and creativity is mind blowing. Yeah, I try to do it as close as the original. So my furniture, my cabinets, they have internal construction, just like the original, even though it's totally unnecessary. You don't see it, but it's there. I like to do that, and the my customers used to really appreciate that back in the day. Okay, enough. Let's look at this print before we forget it's even here. I always look at the transfer first. I don't even like looking at my result. I look at the transfer first and see. This tells you immediately if you had any problems. And in this case, very lucky I had a very clean surface and no issues. Take the tape off. And I have to admit, Richard, this is rather a strange one here you sent me. But it came out just like the one on my computer screen. So, and that is all that matters. And I'll add this to my collection. Okay. Too bad we couldn't do that one on the P800, especially after I created a profile for it. So at this point, let me go ahead and delete some of these topics. Does anyone have any kind of comment you would like to make? Please feel free. I'm going to save the printing on the P800 till I get this solved. I may go ahead and take you up on the Netgear Ethernet uh, port. It'll be like a hub, I assume. Even though this one is a powered hub, it should work. But I don't know what the issue is. So let me go ahead and get myself the next slideshow set up, and okay. So let's see. What is the 35 AI program you use? It's not AI. What are you referring to? Are you referring to Print Prism? AI? No. I'm using Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop forever, since 3 point something. So yeah, this is not something I'm using for AI. It's not the only $35 software I'm currently using, of course, is Print Prism. But I don't know whether that's what you were referring to. Was it? Let me know. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to be finishing up this batch. I'm not going to be creating any more miniature painting. I'm going to finish this batch up, get it all framed up, and if I only sell this, I'll be more than happy. And I'm going to hire my grandson as a cashier. I got to come up with a way to not only accept cash, obviously. Um, yeah, I'm going to make him use an actual manual um, calculator, and I'm going to pay him 15% of all my sales. So the more I make, the more he'll make. I'd have loved to see the P800 print. Yeah. Well, I can show you what I did last week. Hang on. I set up a collage of images, including several standard images. And they came out beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm using a conglomeration of inks on that printer. It's not, I would not recommend you do that. Okay. But I was just using whatever Epson inks I happen to have in bottles. And all of it is OEM, but not necessarily specifically made for the P800, but for other trichrome K3 inks, ink sets. So this is neutral as can be. This is a torture type where you look for gaps or possible banding in those transitions. The same thing here. This is the one, of course, we always rely on. And yeah, the baby. This is another one. Uh, Keith Cooper used to use this one a lot, and the rest is just my images. But I wanted to make something like this size, just a full size print of anything, something I created, or maybe something that Richard made for me, and it came out beautiful. So as far as achieving a very good neutrality, if you will, I think that's done. Okay, I just now gotta get the stupid printer to communicate with my computer. That's the only thing that's left. So I finish up a little bit earlier today. I'll be able to spend some time and get all this ironed out. Because at one point I had everything working. I don't understand what's going on. I just don't get it. All right. So no. So what did you mean? What did you mean? Um, if it's an AI program, no, I'm using Photoshop. Yeah, I'll get it on Amazon. Okay. You like the 108? What's the difference between the 308 and the 108? No, 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 no. He's going to get 15, 15, not 50. So if I make 2 grand, he makes $300. Anything else? Let me know. Don't forget to check that you are indeed subscribed to the new channel before once I check out of here, you'll be able to check. Go to your YouTube and look me up, and then go to my channel. Well, you know how to do it. Just basically check and see if you are subscribed, because you might be subscribed to the previous channel and don't realize that you're no longer subscribed because it doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So also hit the like button if you enjoyed today's presentation. If you just enjoy hanging out with us, even if you just sit back and drink coffee and talk. Yeah, I love to do that with my friends, and you guys are all my friends. All right, so that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and play the. I think this is going to be Antietam Battlefield um, in Maryland, and we'll see you guys next week. All righty, bye bye, everybody.